Hey, it's Mike Hambright with FlipNerd.com. Welcome back for another exciting VIP interview where I interview successful real estate investing experts and entrepreneurs in our industry to help you learn and grow. Today, I'm joined by Franklin Cruz. A lot of you may know him. He is a real estate investor that's purchased hundreds of houses. He's a mentor and a coach at Clever Investor, motivational speaker. He's writing a children's book. He's got a lot going on. So Franklin teaches a lot of investors how to be successful. And today we're going to talk about some important things in your success, which are how to build rapport with buyers and sellers, how to ask the right questions to gather the information you need to be successful. That's kind of tied in with that rapport, and a few other things kind of in that vein. So before we get started with Franklin, though, it's going to be a great show. Franklin's got a lot of good information to share. Before we get started, though, let's take a moment to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey Franklin, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey buddy, how you doing, man?
Good, good. So glad to have you here. And it's funny that I've done a couple hundred shows, and every once in a while we always talk beforehand that what we're going to talk about today. We have to kind of come up with a topic, because with guys like you, we could probably do 20 different shows and never repeat anything. But sometimes you hear something. I know you wanted to talk about building rapport and things like that, and that's something that's so fundamental to me in my real estate business. Yet after 200 shows, we've never even talked about that before. So it's kind of funny, but I'm glad we are, because this is a people business, it's a relationship business, right?
Yeah, it is 100%, man. People forget that all the time, and I tell people it's and I get, man. There's so much marketing. Well, first of all, Mike, thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show. All the way from Lakeland, Florida, Polk County. I feel good about myself. Yeah. But it's funny because a lot of people forget, real estate is a people business. I know there's a lot of marketing out there, and there's a lot of cool sophistication for programs and softwares. And I know we both have seen this in our industry. People say, hey, you could click one button and click another button, and then magically a buyer and seller will just meet and give you money.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
That doesn't work, you're saying?
Oh, no, it doesn't at all.
Yeah.
No. And so, so I'm happy to be here, and we could definitely talk more about that topic. But, this is going to be amazing. It's just something that people totally forget. And I think, after having my acquisition team just covering thousands of calls, and we recorded it, I mean, we got it dialed into saying, okay, what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, before we get started talking about that, tell us, for those that don't know you or those that don't know you well enough yet, tell us about your background and how you got into real estate investing.
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, first of all, my background is I have a military background, if you can't tell, as clean cut as you could possibly get.
Are you saying I'm a little shaggy, or what are you saying?
You're good. So I'll say I did not starch this morning, just FYI. But no, I spent 7 years active duty in the United States Army. I had an amazing Army career. I spent 2 years in Korea. I spent 2.5 years as an Army recruiter, 6 months downrange in Operation Iraqi Freedom when the war started. And then from there, I was a general's aide at Central Command in Tampa, Florida, until 2005. I started real estate investing in 2000. I was actually doing it part-time while I was still in the military. So I definitely understand where a lot of people say, hey, how do I balance this work and this? And I was like, shoot, try to balance military and being a real estate investor. Yeah. And so right after, in 2003, after I came back from the war, I was like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a long war, and I need to make a decision. And my decision was, look, if I can make at least $150,000 worth of cash, I'll get out. You know, my ETA state, I just reenlisted, a year before, but my ETA state's going to come in 2005. If I can make 150 grand cash, I'll get out of the military. And I worked really, really hard. And I flipped a whole bunch of houses. I did rehabs. I did everything you could possibly think of, creating notes, selling notes, everything.
While in the Army.
While still in the military and while being a general's aide, which if a general's aide, their schedule is crazy. It's basically, you're an aide to basically a politician. They're equivalent to senators.
Right.
That's what they're equivalent to. So we would meet with presidents and everything else of different countries, even the United States. And it was an amazing time for him. It's just the funny part is my time was crazy. I mean, up at 3 a.m., going to bed at crazy hours, and still doing real estate in between.
Yep.
One thing I found though is when I hit that goal, I was like, all right, now I'm getting out. And in 2005, I created a company called Bentley Private Fund that we still have till today. And it's 10 years later, I'm still doing real estate, man. I've done basically every single type of transaction you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
From wholesaling, from rehabbing, creating notes, selling notes. I mean, you name it, I've screwed up at it, and I've made a lot of money at it as well.
Yeah. This is a little bit off topic, but maybe you could take a minute, because this is something that comes up all the time in real estate investing. People that want to transition from a job, they want to stop working in corporate America or working for the man or whatever, and get some of the freedoms that they think exist in real estate investing, which obviously we know that they do if you do it right. And becoming more self-sufficient. But a lot of people let their job get in the way. And you were obviously able to transition through that with a very unusual job that if there was ever an excuse to have, it sounds like you could have had it, but you didn't. And so maybe just share a minute or two on what it takes to kind of have that vision to say, in a year or two or whatever it is, I'm going to transition and here's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no problem at all. I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah. So definitely, what you're saying is, showing them exactly how I transitioned and what to do to get there.
Maybe just kind of talk about how others should consider a transition, because a lot of times people, they kind of get safe or secure in their job, which isn't so safe and secure, maybe, and they use that as an excuse as to how they can't get started. Yeah.
So great question. I mean, so what I would say is this: when it comes down to it, for a lot of people actually think that I actually just got out of the military and had no plan. That's actually the complete opposite. I've met a lot of students that said, I'm going to quit my job and I'm out. Or, I can't wait to just quit. Or I'm quitting next week and just do real estate 100% full time. And then I say, well, that's definitely probably the dumbest thing I've heard. Period. Because what happens is, the definition of an entrepreneur is to make enough money to pay for your own mistakes. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the definition of entrepreneur. You want to know it. And I've had plenty of mistakes, and I've paid for it. But what I did is first if you have to comprehend that time management, you need to be a time master. Okay? Because nobody else cares about time, your time more than you.
Right.
Right? And to me, it's all about effectiveness. I'll be upfront, and this is not bragging. I don't want to come across that way. I'm very humbled. You don't know this, Mike, but I'm actually adopted. At 10 years old, my mother passed, and so I come from very, very, very humble beginnings. I actually keep my mother's food stamp card still in my wallet. And so, this year or last year has been extremely well for me financially, and ever since I've started in real estate, I've always made six figures. The last couple years, it's been very, very good. And so, what was the difference? What was the difference between when I was in the military, transitioning out, and everything else is I started understanding what every minute is valued at. I'm at $2.88 a minute. That's how much my time is worth. So every minute that clocks over is $2.88, $187 an hour. Okay? When I started factoring that in, now you could reverse engineer this, right? For somebody who's working at a regular job. And he says, well, I want to start learning the business. That's awesome. Well, Franklin, I don't have the time. Well, you have the same 24 hours that everybody else has.
Right.
The most common, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but what do you think is actually the most popular day? What do you think the most popular day is?
Day of the week?
Yeah. Or day. It's day, yeah.
Saturday?
No, someday.
Yeah.
Someday
You got me, man.
is what people always say when they're working
Right.
at jobs. Someday they want to do something, right? Or I don't have enough time, right? But you don't create the time.
Yep.
So what I got is, even though I'm being very successful, and I know even our founder of Clever Investor, which is a very good friend of mine, Cody Sperber, I talk to him every morning. I wake up every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's 3 hours behind me. And I call him every morning at 4:30 in the morning. Every morning we talk. Every morning. And so that's what a high performer does. So instead of it's almost like, look, I want to be a real estate investor. I don't have the time. Okay, now create the time. When I was in the military, I used to take the same exact notepad that you see right here.
Yeah.
This is not the exact same one. This is not 10 years old. But what I do is, when I had time, like I knew a lunch break was coming up at a specific time, then what I would do is I would call back all the sellers that left me a voice message. I would write down all their phone numbers. And so when I had a break, I would call everybody back. Another thing is, what I started finding out is, if I started eating lunch with all my friends, it took away time of effectiveness of making calls to do deals.
Right.
So I did is I started doing my own lunch, go to the corner of the picnic area, and then I would start at Central Command, and I would start making calls. And then I would schedule the calls when I thought I would be leaving the military base. Now, another thing is keeping your word and keeping your integrity. So then what I would do is I would call everybody back and schedule time frames to view houses, put deals under contract, or at the, when I first started, our virtual wasn't really that big of a deal yet, like it is now. I know it seems like so long ago. I really feel old right now. But before, we couldn't sign contracts on our phone. Before, we didn't have Echo Sign. Before, we didn't have all that stuff. We had to physically go and give somebody a contract sign here.
Right.
And so I would just schedule everything out. And then what I did is I said, look, I'm not getting out of the military until I have X amount of dollars in the bank as a cushion. I have a family. I can't put them at risk.
Right.
And so when I hit that, then I went. And I would have communication with my wife. Look, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, you're not going to see me. Just want to be straight up with you. But I promise you, on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm 100% present. I'm with you.
That's great.
You're going to have to, and if you have that job, you're going to have that kind of conversation. Because at the end of the day, how bad do you want it?
That's right.
And if you want it bad enough, there's a great motivational speaker. I believe his name is it Thomas something? I forget his name. They call him the hip hop motivational artist. And he says, how bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough that you can't sleep, that you can't breathe, that you just got to do it?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, you know what? When my mom passed away, the last book she gave me was Think and Grow Rich. And it's like she passed away wanting to be an entrepreneur. Period. She had a dream. And her life got cut off short. She passed away at 33 years old.
Wow.
I'm 35. And I was just like, who am I? I'm going to make it. Hell or high water. And it's going to take something.
Yep.
And
that's awesome.
And that's what you've got to look at, is like, look at what you want to create and just make the time, period.
Absolutely.
And stop with the excuses. Excuses and reasons are BS. That don't mean anything to me.
Yep.
Like when people start giving me excuses and reasons, I'm like, okay, that's great. And what are you going to create?
Right. Absolutely. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, no problem at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to come preaching, so I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think that's what a lot of people, they know it, but clearly, unless you take massive action, unless you take control of your life and your destiny, nobody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So, awesome, man. Well, let's talk about rapport. Let's talk about the importance of building rapport, building relationships with buyers and sellers.
Yeah, no problem at all. So rapport to me that's the biggest thing in real estate that I believe a lot of people are missing, and I think our students are having so much success is because we have it down to a science. We have it down to, I could tell you the minute that rapport should shift in a conversation. Okay? And what I mean by that is, when you first start in any kind of conversation, are you asking open-ended question or closed-ended questions? And what I mean by that is, like, when a seller calls you, 9 times out of 10, if you're doing let's say you're doing a marketing campaign, right? So you have bandit signs out, right? Or you do a postcard campaign, or you do TV ads. I've done everything you could possibly think of, Google ads or whatever, right? So let's say you do a postcard campaign, and on your postcard, it says, we buy houses and we pay top dollar. Obviously, it's just a lead magnet because you're trying to get them to call you, and then you can negotiate a price. Right? Make sense? Okay. So once that happens is, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say this. So I got your postcard. What are you going to offer me? That's what they're going to say.
Right.
So now what are you going to say? So you could say, well, sir, ma'am, or they may come back and say, well, you have the address. You sent me a card. Tell me how much you're going to offer.
Yeah. You just sent one card, though, right?
Yeah. You sent. Well, yeah.
No, so that's what they think. Well, you sent a letter to me, so you must know who I am.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, okay. And what I did is we started tracking. It took about a year. We tracked, I think it was a little bit over 2,000 calls because everything's recorded. We use Better Voice and Ring Central, and you could use any system to record the calls, right? So if you have a staff, that's what we use. Even if you're a solopreneur, you could use the same thing. I highly recommend it. Just get a recording system. You can listen to the calls when you're on the phone with a seller. So anyway, so we started listening to them. What we found is through a series of questions, you could build a rapport and time it. Like actually start tracking your success ratios. Okay? So what I found is building rapport. Let me go back to open-ended question, closed-ended question. It's as simple as, Mike, let's role play a little bit. How about that?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do something you probably have never done on this show before.
I haven't, but let's do it. Let's do it.
We have no idea what we're going to talk about at all because I'm limited on time. Mike, you're a very busy man, so we're going to go balls to the wall on this.
Let's do it. All right.
All right, perfect. So, Mike, you are the seller. Okay, you're the seller. You got the postcard. I am the investor. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you ready?
Let's do it.
Actually, you're calling me.
I'm calling
so go
you.
ahead.
Okay. Hi there. I got a letter in the mail that says you want to buy my house, and just wanted to see what your offer is.
Awesome. Well, thank you. First of all, I appreciate you calling. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
It's Mike.
Mike. Perfect. Mike. So, Mike, do you mind if you could tell me real quick, where are you calling from?
123 Main Street in Dallas.
Okay, perfect. Oh, so you're from Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, you're not here?
No. I'm actually not. I'm in Lakeland, Florida. I'm in this small county, Polk County.
Oh, okay.
So I apologize. I'm not knocking at your door. I apologize in advance.
Okay.
So perfect. So Dallas. And so, do you mind, Mike, if you could tell me, because we get a lot of phone calls coming in. So do you mind if you could tell me what was the address of that property?
It's 123 Main Street.
Oh, 123 Main Street. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay, 123 Main Street. Perfect. Got it. So, Mike, if you don't mind, okay, so let me ask you a question, Mike. So how many bedrooms is this property again?
It is 3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms. And how many baths?
2 baths.
2 baths. Perfect. What's the square footage of the property? Do you know?
Oh, geez. I think it's like 1,600 or something.
Oh, 1,600. Okay, got it. So let me ask you, Mike, so why are you selling the property?
Well, I'm not really interested in selling. I wasn't planning to sell it, but I got your letter, and I thought, well, I would just check and see how much you might offer me.
Got it. I appreciate it. Okay.
Everything's for sale, right?
Everything is for sale.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Well, perfect. Well, Mike, let me ask you a question now. So so you're telling me you have no idea what you want to sell the property for? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think other houses in my neighborhood have been going for around $200,000, and I'd be willing to sell it for that.
Okay, perfect. Now, real quick, side note. Okay, now I'm acting like I'm not in this call. Right there, when Mike, who is the seller, automatically started, before he didn't want to tell me a price. Now he's actually giving me a range. Okay, so this is something that you want to listen for. Somebody's giving you a range, now they're giving you a breakthrough. The breakthrough is now they're saying something on a price-wise. So now I have a range. Okay, now I'm back in the call. Perfect. All right, so Mike, first of all, okay, so you're saying about the $200,000 range. Is that about right?
Yeah, I know this house down the street sold for that, and I'd be willing to consider selling my house for that if I could get that same price.
Okay, perfect. So you're saying, so what was the price specifically? I didn't get that. I'm sorry.
I think it was $200,000.
Okay, 200. Got it. Okay, perfect. So let me ask you, Mike, if you were a general contractor, right? And I know you're sponsored by Home Depot, so Mike, so if you're a general contractor, what kind of repairs do you think is needed for a property?
It doesn't really need much. I mean, there's probably some new carpet in a couple of the rooms and maybe some fresh paint, but it's in pretty good condition. I've lived here for a long time, and it's worked well for me.
Okay, perfect. And then how long have you lived in the property?
About 15 years.
Oh, wow. Good Lord. Since you're 17 years old, is that what you're saying?
I'm older than you think I am, Franklin.
Okay. Perfect. All right, shift over here now. Shifting is now I'm building rapport. I got him laughing. Now I'm listening for, and I know he's not 17 years old, but the thing is you want to have some, if you have them laugh, they're in.
Yeah.
That's it. You could basically screw up everything, but you have them laughing. Now they're feeling more comfortable. And I'm going quickly on this phone, and I'll tell you the specific time frame. But now that's the key. Okay, now I'm shifting back. All right, perfect. All right, so Mike, perfect. So I get that you're not 32 years old. All right, perfect. So you're saying that just a bit of carpet, a little bit of paint. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't. It's in pretty good condition.
All right, perfect. So Mike, let me ask you, what would be the lowest price that you would take for your property?
Well, like I said, that $200,000 that the house down the street sold for, I would be willing to sell it for that if I could get the same price.
Okay, perfect. And Mike, I don't really want to dig into your personal business, but I just had a question because there may be a secondary way to purchase your property. Do you have a mortgage on the property?
Nope.
Oh, so you own it free and clear.
Yeah, it's paid off. Mm-hmm.
It says paid off. Got it. All right, side note, if you know anything about subject to, this is like ding, 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 I think I hit the lottery. All right? That's more advanced than the visuals. So for a lot of people that are probably listening to this are newbies, which is nothing wrong with that, and some advanced. The advanced know what I'm talking about. The newbies don't touch subject to at all.
Yeah.
Don't even go that route, okay? Because it's a little bit more complicated. But all I can say is get a great mentor. You'll be fine on that standpoint, but don't touch this if you don't know what you're doing. All right, shift.
And even some veterans, I'm not a big fan of subject twos. They're just, I don't like them. But we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
So, great. Right. Well, and just a side note before we go back here, Franklin. I know I'm trying to honor your time. I know you've got only a little bit of time left. So, but yeah, we'll keep role playing if you want to, or you can kind of.
I'll dig in. Well, what I'll do is, you're right. I'll slow it down right now, and let me cut this off. I don't want to. Okay, perfect. So the whole premise of this, the role play, and if you don't mind, we'll end it right here, even though this is kind of midway. I timed it. We're about almost 8 minutes into the role play, so I have the sweet spot is between 14 and 17 minutes. Okay, that's really where you want to be. Okay, so you're not, consider if you're below 14 minutes, you didn't build enough rapport at all. Okay, you didn't build enough rapport that you could call the guy back and try to start establishing a price. If you're at 17 minutes or if you're above 17 minutes, consider now you're just entertaining yourself. Like now you're just talking too much. Okay, this is a first call. Really just try to stick to the point and get to it. I could have started digging more into it. I would have said, oh, Mike, do I hear some dogs in the background? And then we could talk about dogs. Or, oh, Mike, you sound like a military guy. And then you could go into that because you're trying to establish rapport so you could go back to your set of questions about the property.
Right.
It's just like anything else. It's like, I tell people it's kind of like dating, and it's not dating advice, but I'm happily married, just FYI. But it's like when I was an Army recruiter, was my time is really ironing this out because I wasn't married. But it's just like if you go up to a woman, you're not going to go up to him and say, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Franklin Cruz. Hey, do you want to come back to my house and check how bouncy my bed is?" It's not going to work. You don't have any rapport. Right. You don't have anything. It takes time, right? It takes, getting to know the person, everything else, and then they might go to church with you, right? You have no idea.
Yeah. And naturally, sellers are pretty. They're trying to keep you at arm's length because they're guarded. It's almost a negotiation tactic. You're like, well, I'm not really even interested in this, but I just thought I'd try to find out more, right? So It's a matter of kind of building that relationship to get them into a comfort zone where they're willing to start talking more about it.
Yeah, and a great tool. And I have to. One thing I have to admit is called the takeaway tool, and you could anybody could write this down if they're listening to it. It's called the takeaway, and the takeaway is we have a lot of sellers, and I just dealt with this the other day. We had a seller that says, I could rehab it myself, and I could do this. How many times have you heard that? Right? Yeah. I just do it myself. This is what I say. I think that's a great idea, Mike. I think you should rehab it. And then silence. See, on all of our forums, we say 80% listen, 20% ask more questions. because it's not about you talking. You know, it's like dating. If you need to ask a woman something and allow her to talk. If you're talking too much, trust me, she's not interested.
Right.
You know, listen. Be a powerful listener. So the takeaway is like, hey, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think you should. I honestly, Mike, I really think you need to go that route. Because when I'm seeing our numbers, I just looked it up in our system, and our numbers, you know, they're a little bit below $150,000. And you know what? If you could get $250,000, Mike, for it, man, I really think that's the route you should go.
Right.
Right there, instantly, and Mike, if you're really the seller, right there, you're like, wow, this guy actually cares. Like, what was going through your head when I just said that? I apologize.
Yeah, no, you know, sometimes you'll hear somebody say, well, you know, I might be willing to accept a little bit less than that. And then they kind of send you a message that, okay, maybe there's a little more motivation here than what he led me to believe the first time, right?
Exactly.
It's a negotiation tactic. They're kind of starting high, and they might be willing to come down. And sometimes, you know, they're not willing to come down. But but you won't know until you kind of build that relationship up. So I get it.
Yeah, and probably one huge tip, and I know you want to talk about tips. I'm not sure if this is the segment, but I'm gonna bring it up. Do you mind?
No, we'll do another one with you too, my friend. So
perfect. Here's another amazing tip that I want people to really get. And I hear this all the time. You have no idea. The biggest thing is like, Franklin, well, what if they say no? What if they're not negotiating? Consider, are you committed? And I'm looking at you right now on the screen, right? And not just Mike. I know whoever's looking at this. Consider this. Are you committed to being a real estate investor, a successful, high-performing, multi-million-dollar real estate investor, or are you attached? Now, what I mean by this is this. If you're committed, being committed means you're not attached, that this one person is the person that's going to be the deal. Committed means, look, I'm going to have to put them on my calendar, and I'm going to put follow-up in 2 weeks. Right? This may not be the deal. Yep. Because I'm not attached. I'm committed that I'm going to be successful, quit my job, I'm going to be a multimillionaire, or I'm already a real estate investor, now I'm going to produce more income in my business. Or, you know, I'm going to be like Mr. Mike over here, and he's a real estate investor, he's somebody who's actually impacting the world through his show and everything else. And that's actually good. See, he's committed to being, you know, take Flip Nerd throughout the entire world and make it a massive success because it's already successful. He's committed. He's not attached that it needs to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? And that this interview is going to be the interview that puts him on the map, or a Donald Trump interview,
well,
or whatever.
If it wasn't you, Franklin, I would say that's probably not true, but I think it might be, my friend.
I appreciate it. It's just like, that's what, if anybody's listening, if you could get one thing out of this call or this video or just the interview in itself, is, are you committed or are you attached? Choose. And that's it. If you choose committed, I promise you, promise. Like, this is like, sign it, put it, you know, tattoo it on your forehead, whatever you got to do. You will be successful, but you've got to be committed.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, drop the mic. I'm done.
Yeah. He's out. Awesome, man. Well, hey, real fast, why don't you, if folks want to learn more about you, where do they go?
Yeah, they can. I mean, it's simple. One, you can find me on social media, Franklin Cruz. I'm actually the only Franklin Cruz in the world, Cruz. Or you could go to my website, franklincruz.com. Or you could go to our amazing website at Clever, which is cleverinvestor.com. I believe /Franklin Cruz. I'm not sure if they have me. Or if you find Cody Sperber on social media, I mean, just chime in. I mean, we're building an amazing community at Clever Investor that it's all about changing lives, man. It's just transformation through real estate investing. So if you want to find me on social media, say what's up. Say if you heard this interview, hey man, I heard the interview, and you know, tag my wife so she could know this was amazing. Just Bridget.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks so much for your time, and thanks for sharing your insights today. Definitely appreciate it. It was good stuff for sure.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. I'm honored to be on your show.
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you. Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.